The following program is an original MCM production for Community Channel 14.
Hi, and welcome to Taste the Season. I'm Lisa Kingery, the culinary educator and registered dietitian for the Fondy Farmers Market in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And today I'm going to teach you how to not taste the season, well, taste the season later, but preserve the season. I'm going to do that by teaching you how to make peach fruit leathers. And I love fruit leathers now because my kids love them, and I was buying these other brands of fruit leathers for a crazy amount of money. There's like 0.4 ounces in this one, and it was 70 cents on sale. This one is not, it says it's natural. I'm not certain what that means. I guess it's just fruit, not artificial fruit. But this one was 65 cents. It wasn't on sale. So I started making fruit leathers, and part of the reason is because I like to eat local as often as I can and as much as possible all throughout the year, not just when things are growing in Wisconsin, which seems to be like 3 months of the year lately. But anyway, so we're going to teach you how to make fruit leathers out of peaches. And what I have here is about 4.5 pounds of peaches. And you will notice that they are not necessarily pretty peaches. They are kind of icky peaches, honestly. Some of them are quite nice, but some. And I got them this way, and I got them this way purposefully because usually a fresh, good, beautiful, aesthetically pleasing peach at the Fondy Farmers Market is $2 a pound. And I have a deal with the farmer who I got to know, and I think you should go to the Fondy Farmers Market too and get to know your farmer as well. But I asked him, what do you do with those old ones that are falling on the ground? Could I take them? And he sure enough gave them to me, so I got them at a steal of a deal. You could also do this if you had peaches and you forgot about them and, I got peaches in there. What am I going to do with them? You don't have to worry about how aesthetically pleasing they are because we're going to mix them up, puree them, and we're going to make them into leathers, and so you will not be able to know that there was stuff on them. So with peaches, the first thing you need to do is you need to get this peeling off of it, and you need to pit them. Some people just use a knife and peel it. I don't like to do that because I think it takes a lot of time. And also, if I blanch them, I will stop the enzymatic destruction of the peach, and I will it'll preserve better. I won't have to add like lemon juice later or ascorbic acid later to make sure that it doesn't brown. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to blanch the peaches. So the first thing you need to do when you blanch peaches is you need to have a pot of hot boiling water, and you need to have an ice water bath. And let us begin. So I'm going to start heating this water. And then what you do is you take your peaches and you're going to drop them in, and you don't really want to drop more than 8 at a time because it's going to lower the temperature of the water too much. And what we're trying to do is to just blanch it, and that's a word that you use a lot in preserving, and that means you just want to just cook it and stop the enzymes that are in the peach from continuing to make this peach ripe. And you want to just cook it barely to do that, and then you're going to shock it in a cold water bath, which I have right here. So this is a bowl full of water and ice. It's cold. So here we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. All right, because they're little. They were little peaches. And you're going to put this back on, and you're going to begin timing immediately. So if you have a timer, use it. And if you don't, do not run away and do something else. You will inevitably forget. Stay right here and watch your clock. All right? I know that's not very fun, but you only have to do it 3 minutes. If these were really large peaches, which they're not, you would have done it for 5 minutes. We're going to take off the lid, turn off the heat, take our little slotted spoon, and begin pulling out the peaches one at a time and putting them in the ice bath. So again, I call this is blanching. And you use blanching for many things, but when you preserve fruit and vegetables, some fruits like peaches and apricots, you can blanch them, but all vegetables definitely need to be blanched. And all blanching is this heating at a rolling boil for just a few minutes to stop the enzymes from in the vegetables and the fruits from working, so they won't continue to ripen the fruit or you know, pretty much decompose the vegetable. And then you shock it in a cold water bath, and that stops the heat, and it also, so the enzymatic process has ceased. So there we go, we've done that. And now what we want to do, once they're nice and cool, we're going to take them out and we're going to peel them. And you can see right now how easily this is beginning to peel. So let's bring this over here. All right, so then we take these peaches and, wow, this one skin's already off. So here, the skin just peels right off. And we'll do that to all of them. Again, if you wanted to, you could peel this with a knife and then treat it with some lemon juice or some crushed vitamin C, ascorbic acid, and that would stop the peach from browning because peach is brown. So we're going to puree this. There's two ways to puree any fruit for a fruit leather. Way one is that you use a blender or a food processor, and you just do like a raw puree, which is what we're going to do today. The other way to do it would be to cook it down. So for example, when it becomes fall and I start making applesauce, some of the applesauce, I just take the apples, I peel them, I core them, and I cook them in a big pot. And they just automatically turn into mush. That's what applesauce is. And a fruit leather. So that's another way. If you cook a fruit, you can also puree it. But this time we're going to be using the blender. So I'm just going to cut these open, and I'm going to throw them in there. All right. Now, besides being much cheaper than the store-bought version, the wonderful thing about peach leathers or fruit leathers that you make at home is that you can make wild, crazy sorts of combinations that you would never ever find in the store, and you can add all sorts of fun things to it. So that's another benefit of it. The other thing is, it's a great way to preserve without taking up valuable space in your freezer. Oh, I lost another pit. That's not acceptable. All right. So here I've got this in here, all the peaches in there. It's about 2 pounds, and I'm going to puree it. You can just you can add a sweetener to it if you'd like. You can add sugar if you want. My only reservation with sugar is that it forms crystals when it dries. So the best things to sweeten it with would be corn syrup or honey, or don't add any sweetener at all, just add some water. You could also add some juice. You could add fruit juice to it if you need to thin it, because you want it to reach a pouring consistency. And I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to blend. And that was easy work. I don't think I even need a spatula. Let's see. All right. No, that's pretty good. I might pour a little bit of the honey in anyway because I want it to be a little bit sweeter. Okay. The other things people might want to pour into it at this time would be lemon juice. That's going to give it maybe a brighter flavor. You might want to add in some extract. This is vanilla extract, but they make lots of different kinds of extracts, like almond extract, raspberry extract. Other people want to put spices in it. This is nutmeg. You know what? I'm going to sneak some nutmeg in it. It's from my kids, and they don't really like things to be spiced, but you know what? These will be for me then. All right, so we're just going to put a little bit in there. Or you can just leave it plain. So I'm going to puree that again. All right, now I need a little spoon because I need to taste it. And the reason I need to taste it is I don't want it to be too flavorful or too sweet or too anything, because As it dries, it's going to get more and more flavorful. It's going to get more and more intensely sweet or more intensely cinnamony or whatever it is. So that's perfect. Okay, so now we've prepared the fruit. We've prepared what we're going to make a leather out of. So there are two ways you can make a leather. There is way one, which is you can get a cookie sheet and you can get plastic wrap and you can line this with plastic wrap. Do not use wax paper. Do not use tin foil. Only plastic wrap. And you put it down and then you'd pour this in there and you'd make it 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch thick, no more. You also don't want to get it right up to the sides. So you kind of want it to kind of thin out. I don't recommend this, well, especially in my house, because you need to dry fruit, make fruit leathers at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. My oven doesn't go to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. The other reason I would not use my oven, let's say it did go to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, my oven is a conventional oven, a regular oven, doesn't have a fan in it. So it takes up to like 18 hours to make this fruit leather. And by the time I've run my oven for 18 hours, and you have to kind of crack the door open a little bit, and you might want to use like a wooden spoon or something, because you have to let the steam out. By the time 18 hours have gone by, I have not saved any money, and I might as well have bought the 70-cent fruit leather. Also, I don't want to tie up my kitchen and my oven for that long. And thirdly, I have little children who could not resist touching an oven that was cracked ajar. So that is completely out for me. That's not, but for you, it might be a good idea. And if you have a convection oven that's got a fan in it, a fancy oven that goes to 140, that might be a good option for you. It's not for me. For me, I had to go buy a food dehydrator. So you're thinking, oh, I don't want to make this big investment in this thing. Food dehydrators are not that expensive. They run between $60 and $150. And mine is a pretty low-end $75 food dehydrator. And I've had it for 4 years, and it's not going anywhere. It doesn't have a lot of parts. It's not a breakable thing. It comes like this. It's a pretty standard brand. It's a Nesco. It has trays. These trays, you can buy more of them, so you can dehydrate as many things as you want. You can only dehydrate one thing at a time. The motor's on top. You stick it here, like that, and there's a bottom here, which I don't have on here. We'll put them all on top. We'll stack it up. And you stack it up, and you plug it in, and you set the temperature. For fruits, you're going to set it to 135, between 135 and 145, which is 140. And you run it for about 8 hours for a fruit leather. It's a wonderful thing, and I use it all throughout the summer as I preserve the season. I use this to make the fruit leathers. I use this to dry tomatoes. I use this to dry other fruits. I use this, you can use it to make beef jerky if you really like beef jerky. There's so many things to use it for, and it's big. That's the one thing I'm going to say it's not so great about it. It's big. So anyway, I highly recommend getting one of these, especially if your oven doesn't go to 140, because you cannot make fruit leathers without the temperature of 140. I tried. I burnt them. Don't try it. Okay, so we're making fruit leathers. Here we go. When you buy your Nesco, if you're going to buy that or whatever dehydrator you decide to buy, they're going to come with these things right here, these sheets. These are leather sheets. I bought more because we eat a lot of fruit leathers. So more of those, and you pour them in. So let's put this aside. I don't need that. I'm going to show you. I'm going to put it here. We're just making one right now. So I'm going to put that there. I take this here, and I begin to pour. It's nice and clean. Some people like to spray it with a little, like Pam kind of stuff, you know, that spray. I don't think that that is necessary. And then you just kind of want to make sure it's kind of even everywhere. There's a few little chunks in there, but it's fine. Just pull those out. We don't need that. There we go. Ta-da. There it goes. All right. All right, so that was, I said, 2 pounds of fruit leathers, or 2 pounds of peaches. So I get enough for two of these things here. So I'll do that. I'll do a second one. Here we go. Oh, I just poured that piece of, yeah, I'm gonna have to eat that piece of fruit, huh? So you wanna make sure it's about, well, like I said, 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch thick. And there it is. Doesn't matter if it doesn't go all the way because you are going to, I think I made this one a little more thick. The other one, all right. And I am gonna take this little guy out. Bye-bye. The second time to say goodbye to you. All right. And now I'm going to put this on top and I'm going to plug it in. And what I do, you need 8 hours. 8 hours of this thing running. Okay, it's 8 hours later. I've checked it. It's not tacky on top. You want it to be dry, but not brittle. So you want it to be kind of pliable. So this guy comes out, and then I usually just get a little butter knife and start working, trying to find a spot where I can get this going. Okay. And then, ooh, it's like magic. And then it just peels out, just like that. And there it is. And then what I like to do is I like to take powdered sugar and just kind of sprinkle it and kind of rub it in because we want it to stay dry and we don't want it to stick to the other fruit leathers because we're going to cut this up. I'm not going to eat just this, like this. And it keeps them from sticking together. Some people like to take saran wrap or cling wrap and just stack them up on top. Some people like to keep theirs in the freezer. So I became a master food preserver this year, and officially master food preservers, and I got that credential through the University of Wisconsin. And so officially they say that these should be kept out for 1 month. I say that you could keep them on the shelf for much more than a month. I've kept them for much longer than that. And here's a knife. Look at this knife. And suffered no repercussions. So we're going to use this. It's not my favorite knife. And then I just cut them up into a way that I like. So like that. And I usually cut them like a pie, like into 8s. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. And again, you could make it smaller if you wanted to. I'm going to do that like this today. Okay, and here we are. They're like that. So now we've got our fruit leathers, and then I usually store them in mason jars like this. This one is strawberries and raspberries. And then I take them and I kind of roll them up like that. And I put them in these mason jars. And then, ta-da, and I stack them up and I put them in a roll. So that is how you make fruit leathers, and you can preserve the season all year round, tasting peaches that were in season in August, and you can eat them in November. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come to the Fondy Farmers Market. We're open from May to November at 2200 West Fond du Lac, where we have the best tasting, locally grown, seasonal vegetables in all of Southeast Wisconsin. Thank you so much.
This has been an MCM Productions program.